Welcome to the Deeper Thinking podcast. In an age defined by rapid technological advancement, the very concept of leadership is undergoing a dramatic transformation. Traditionally, leadership has been understood as a dynamic between individuals and their followers, shaped by personal qualities such as charisma, vision, and moral authority, alongside institutional frameworks that ensure accountability and legitimacy. However, the rise of artificial intelligence (AI) has introduced a new paradigm in which power, influence, and engagement are increasingly determined by algorithms that analyze, predict, and manipulate human emotions and behaviors. As AI continues to permeate every aspect of governance, from political campaigns to organizational leadership, the fundamental nature of authority itself is being redefined. AI-powered leadership moves away from traditional models rooted in human interaction and rational discourse, and instead focuses on the emotional resonance between leaders and their followers. Through the use of sentiment analysis, behavioral tracking, and personalized content delivery, leaders can now tailor their messages to deeply resonate with individuals on a psychological level. This shift raises profound ethical and philosophical questions about the limits of emotional manipulation, the authenticity of leadership, and the implications for democratic systems that rely on debate, deliberation, and collective decision-making. The intersection of artificial intelligence, AI, and leadership presents a significant shift in the way power is structured and exercised. AI technologies have already begun to shape the future of leadership, influencing how leaders communicate, engage with their followers, and ultimately maintain their power. As we enter deeper into this age of digital governance, AI's growing role invites us to critically examine the consequences of its use, particularly when it comes to issues of autonomy, accountability, and the ethical implications of emotional manipulation. Leadership, traditionally a domain marked by debate, transparency, and moral authority, is rapidly evolving to a process defined by data, emotional resonance, and algorithmic optimization. This transformation challenges our understanding of what it means to be a leader, as well as the role of democratic institutions and practices in a society increasingly governed by AI. One of the most fundamental changes brought about by AI in leadership is the way it transforms the relationship between leaders and their followers. The traditional model of leadership, which was once grounded in direct interaction, public trust, and the pursuit of common goals, is being replaced by a model where leaders and followers are continuously monitored, analyzed, and influenced through technology. AI allows leaders to track the emotional and psychological states of their followers in real time, tailoring their messages to maximize emotional engagement. Rather than relying on broad, generalized appeals to shared values or collective goals, leaders can now craft highly personalized content that speaks directly to the emotional needs and desires of their followers. This ability to micro-target followers based on their emotional profiles and engagement patterns creates a form of leadership that is intimate and pervasive, but also manipulative. The ethical concerns surrounding this shift are significant, as AI technologies enable leaders to harness emotional data for political and social influence. Questions of consent, privacy, and autonomy become even more pressing. Leaders now have the ability to fine-tune their messages to elicit specific emotional responses, such as fear, joy, or anger, from their followers. This capacity for emotional manipulation raises concerns about the authenticity of leadership. If leaders derive their power not from their ideas, policies, or actions, but from their ability to create an emotional bond with their followers, how do we assess the legitimacy of their authority? Are followers truly consenting to their leadership, or are they being subtly influenced by technologies they do not fully understand? In this context, we must consider the ethical implications of AI-powered leadership in light of contemporary philosophical theories on power, autonomy, and manipulation. Drawing from the work of contemporary theorists like Wendy Brown and Judith Butler, we can see that the power dynamics at play in AI-driven leadership are deeply troubling. Wendy Brown, in her critique of neoliberalism and its effects on democracy, argues that power in contemporary societies operates through subtle forms of governance that prioritize individual autonomy and choice, while simultaneously limiting meaningful democratic participation. In this model, power is not overt or coercive, but operates through the production of desires, feelings, and expectations that individuals internalize and act upon. AI-driven leadership operates in a similar fashion, shaping the emotional landscape of society by influencing the desires and emotional responses of individuals. Rather than encouraging critical engagement or debate, AI-powered leadership bypasses these mechanisms entirely, instead appealing to the emotions and feelings that govern individuals' behavior. This leads to a system in which power is not exercised through collective decision-making, but through the careful management and manipulation of individuals' emotional states. The ethical question here is whether such a system is compatible with the democratic ideals of autonomy, accountability, and public deliberation. If power is exercised by appealing to the emotional vulnerabilities of individuals, how can we ensure that leadership remains accountable to the broader democratic society, rather than to the algorithms that drive it? Judith Butler's concept of performativity also provides insight into the way AI-driven leadership works. Butler argues that identity and power are not inherent or fixed, but are constantly performed and reinforced through language, action, and interaction. In the digital age, AI takes on a similar role, performing power through its ability to shape, predict, and manipulate the emotions and behaviors of individuals. Leaders no longer merely present themselves through speeches, actions, or policy decisions. They also perform power through the use of AI to produce specific emotional responses in their followers. This performativity, however, is not necessarily a genuine expression of leadership. Rather, it is an algorithmic construction crafted to meet the emotional needs of followers, while simultaneously consolidating the leader's power. The performance of leadership becomes a spectacle engineered to create emotional bonds and loyalty, often at the expense of authentic engagement or substantive political discourse. As AI continues to shape the future of leadership, it also raises important questions about the role of democratic institutions in a world increasingly governed by algorithms. Traditionally, democratic systems were designed to ensure that power was distributed and held accountable through checks and balances. Leaders were expected to represent the will of the people, engaging in open debate and deliberation with other branches of government and the public. However, as AI shifts the balance of power, traditional mechanisms of accountability become less relevant. Leaders no longer need to rely on institutional frameworks such as courts, legislative bodies, or the media to communicate with the public. Instead, they can communicate directly with followers through personalized, emotionally resonant messages, bypassing institutional oversight entirely. This shift in the distribution of power has profound implications for the future of democracy. When leaders can bypass institutions and communicate directly with followers, it undermines the concept of democracy as a collective, reasoned process. Democracy is built on the idea that decisions are made through public debate and deliberation, where ideas are weighed and scrutinized in the light of reason. AI-driven leadership, however, operates on a completely different logic, one that prioritizes emotional engagement over reasoned debate. In this system, political decisions are no longer based on the collective will of the people, but on the emotional resonance of leaders' messages. The result is a form of leadership that is less about governing through reason and more about manipulating public sentiment to maintain power. Moreover, the personalization of political messages through AI threatens to exacerbate existing divisions within society. As leaders use AI to tailor their messages to specific emotional profiles, they risk creating echo chambers where followers are constantly fed content that reinforces their pre-existing beliefs, fears, and desires. This deepens polarization, making it harder for people to engage in constructive dialogue or find common ground. The emotional manipulation facilitated by AI further isolates individuals from differing perspectives, entrenching ideological divisions and reducing the possibility for democratic deliberation. This is especially dangerous in a political climate where rational discourse is already being replaced by emotionally charged rhetoric and divisive narratives. The rise of AI-driven emotional engagement in leadership also invites a re-examination of the very nature of democratic accountability. In traditional democratic systems, leaders are held accountable to the public through institutional mechanisms like elections, public debate, and the media. These systems functioned as safeguards, ensuring that leaders remained answerable to the collective will of the people. But in the digital age, AI bypasses these institutional processes by providing leaders with direct, personalized access to their followers. This undermines traditional checks and balances, as leaders no longer need to engage with the public through institutional channels. Instead, they communicate directly with their supporters, crafting messages that bypass reasoned debate and instead focus on emotional engagement. This creates a system where power is not exercised through rational discourse, but through emotional resonance, leading to a potential erosion of democratic values. As AI continues to reshape leadership, we must confront the tension between the opportunities it offers and the risks it poses. AI can enhance engagement, streamline communication, and foster deeper connections between leaders and followers. But it also opens up new avenues for manipulation, turning leadership into a game of emotional resonance rather than intellectual or moral authority. Philosophers like Berlant and Spinoza offer valuable insights into the complexities of this new form of governance, highlighting the relational affective nature of leadership. As AI allows leaders to tap into the emotional lives of their followers, it is essential that we consider the ethical implications of this power and the potential consequences for democratic society. As we grapple with these challenges, it is crucial to establish ethical frameworks that govern the use of AI in leadership. The potential for emotional manipulation is vast, and without safeguards, we risk creating a world where leadership is no longer about ideas, policies, or vision, but about orchestrating the emotional responses of the masses. We must ensure that AI serves democratic principles, fostering transparency, accountability, and genuine engagement, rather than reducing leadership to a spectacle designed to manipulate and control. Only by addressing these ethical concerns can we safeguard the future of leadership in the digital age. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Deeper Thinking podcast, an audio essay read by me, Holly, your digital narrator. To learn more about the subjects covered today, check out the links in the show notes. Until next time.